right, my favorite graphite paddles that I like to work with when I'm making glass beads. I really like to have a paddle that has, I guess, first of all, a thin handle. I don't really like them when they have big chunky handles because I feel like I have less connection to the tool where it touches the bead. And also I really like to have a small surface to work with. Even if I'm making a large bead, I can work with a small paddle. My favorite paddle is the very smallest one, and it has this beautiful beveled edge, which is really fine. So if I have a bead that is tiny and I want to try to marver into a little space, if I have that thin bevel, then I can really get into that space right there. You know, this is a bead that I made yesterday and it's cold, but you get the idea of like how I can maneuver around a shape like that. If you have a paddle that doesn't have this beautiful bevel, you can modify it. You can make a bevel yourself. So, you know, here's just your basic paddle. It's kind of a square block, and I'm going to show you how I sand it. Also, just the other day I dropped one of my paddles and I got this big chunk taken out of it just because the graphite is fragile and the thin blade is fragile, so you have to watch out for that. So if that happens, then you can modify it, fix it, shape it to any way you want. So really, to begin with, you just need a flat surface. You can use any kind of tabletop. I have here just a piece of steel, so I'll show you. And then you just get some sandpaper. I really like to use like a wet dry sandpaper because sometimes you can do the sanding of the graphite dry. You want to make sure you're wearing a respirator because you don't want to breathe the dust, but you can also do it wet. And what is nice about doing it wet is it keeps the dust down, and it makes a very messy slurry. Your hands are going to get really dirty, but it keeps the dust out of the air, so you're less likely to breathe it. All the sandpaper I have here, let's see, it's kind of just like woodworking. If you use a heavier grit, you'll take off more material. If you use a finer grit, it'll be a finer surface. What's nice also, you know, after years of use, you can actually, you know, really get that down to a fine polish and have a beautiful surface for your flame working. I really love the way graphite slides over hot glass. I've used marvers that have been made out of brass or out of stainless steel, and my preference is graphite because I really like the way that it smoothly glides across the surface of the glass. And if you have a decoration that is precise over the surface of your glass, if you have the graphite, it's less likely to drag that decoration and distort it. So I'll just take a, let's see, I'll use this one, and I will use 320 sandpaper. We'll just see how this goes. Okay, so when you're done, you know, you're going to have a surface. In this case, I don't know if you can see it, but in this case, the way that this paddle was manufactured, it has a little hole in it where they attached the handle to the graphite, and I happen to go all the way through to expose that hole. I don't worry about that very much because I actually do all the work on this flat surface right here. So that really doesn't bother me, but it does have a couple little chips in it, so you can easily fix the chips. And I think that that is about it. I mean, once you use your 320 grit, you know, you can move down. This one is a 400, and then you can work all the way down to, what do I have on this, is a 600, and that will get even finer. And you can move down to even, finer than 600 and really get a beautiful polish on your graphite. So I hope that's helpful. I hope it's inspirational. And, as you're working, just think about your tools, taking good care of them, and modifying if you need to. Happy bead making.